This is another episode of Standup Comedy, your host and MC, celebrating 40-plus years on the fringe of show business. Stories, interviews, and comedy sets from the famous and not so famous. Here's your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast, Stand-Up Comedy, host and MC. Man, we have a really fun show for you this week. So my bride and I recently took a short vacation to South Florida, and we were so lucky to hook up with one of our best friends in the comedy world, Bruce Smirnoff, and he's here today because, well, he's got a little bit of a story. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bruce Smirnoff. Bruce, welcome back to the podcast. You've been on several times. Why? Because you're one of the funniest men in America. And we had such a great visit with you down in your home base in South Florida. But you told us this great story about you had an adventure with Trump, who wasn't president at the time, but Donald J. Trump, and his winglets. What was winglets? What's that?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. And I had such a wonderful time with you and your bride when you were here. I guess you saw on my wall that I have like a little art thing about Donald Trump. So we started to speak about that. And I told you this story. And you know who comedian Jeff Ross is, the roast master general. Yes?
Oh, yeah, Jeff Ross. He worked the club several times. Very funny guy, famous in the New York area. You and Jeff Ross are close friends.
Yeah, this goes back to 2002. Well, when we lived in L.A., when I was living there, I left in 2001. But in the 90s, Jeff and I had a friendship. We both had one-man shows. So we kind of, buddied up to each other to figure out, get tips from one another. And he became a fan of mine and I of him. And we stayed friends. And then I moved to New York. And unfortunately, I moved in 2001. So I was enjoying everything until 9/11 happened about 8 months after I had moved there. And things were, not really progressing that far, obviously, after 9/11.
Yeah, that was tough timing and not the best time to be in New York.
Right. So then after, it was in February, I think it was like February 9th or something, Jeff had apartments in both cities because he bi-coastal, plays everywhere. And he calls me on a Friday afternoon, February. He goes, "Hey, buddy." I go, "Hey, what's up?" He goes, "Are you busy this weekend?" I go, "No. What do you want to do?" He goes, "Well, I got a call from Donald Trump and he wants me to perform at Mar-a-Lago tomorrow night, and I'd like to bring you as my opening act." And I went, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Okay, well, we got to meet at LaGuardia Airport in about, 4 hours. So just meet us at the private terminal. I'll see you there." And I went, "Okay." So let me explain. At the time, obviously Trump wasn't in politics then. And to me, I never really paid much attention because living in California, you always hear about Trump, but I don't even think he had those television shows on, right? Apprentice and things like that.
Right. He wasn't nationally known as much, more as a millionaire businessman than any of the entertainment stuff.
Right. And he was like bombastic, opinionated. I had no opinion of him, good or bad, but I knew that a lot of people in LA, they weren't fans of his because of, the way he the comments he made about women and the womanizing. And then he was in Atlantic City, and that's right. He was having trouble with the Taj Mahal. That was the hotel that he bought. Anyway, that's all I knew of him. I just, I said, I've been around famous people living in LA. So I said, all right, I got to deal with a very, very large ego, and but it'll be fun. We're going to fly down on his private plane, and a gig's a gig. So I get to LaGuardia. It's a private terminal, which is next to the main terminal, but separated. And it's a real cold February night, and it's 5:00 in the afternoon, and this is hardcore. Everybody and their mother is going somewhere, but a lot of people are traveling down to Florida, and the terminal that we're in, there's nobody there. It's just me and Jeff. And then about 3 minutes later comes in Judge Jeanine Pirro, who is, a host on Fox TV. I'm sure your audience knows who she is. And she comes in, they say hello to her. And then this other gentleman named David Pecker, who owned the National Enquirer. And he was a very quiet man. He came in. So it was just like the 1, 2, 3, 4 of us just hanging out waiting for Trump. And, I started doing stretching exercises because I didn't have my thinking cap on because I'm very tall and I'm always being sent, coach wherever I travel all over the world. And I get so bent out of shape physically on planes. So I start stretching, thinking I'm going to be sitting, in a horrible coach seat. And so Judge Janine comes over and goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Well, these are stretches, the back, abdomen, all this stuff, so I don't stiffen up." And she goes, "Let me try." So here I am. She was very pretty at the time, and she's still a very pretty woman. But I mean, I'm doing stretches with her, and all. It was just fun. Everything was just down to earth. And then all of a sudden, a gentleman comes out of the office there, and he goes, "Mr. Trump is here. Please be ready to board the plane." So okay, all right. So we finish up. We're ready to go. He comes right on the button. We walk onto the plane first, the 4 of us, and obviously it's not what I expected. It's all first class.
We're talking a private plane, not
So it's a private. It's a 727 Boeing, and
a big private plane.
a big private plane, and there's no coach seats. There's couches, and if you go online and you just look at luxury jets like that, you'll get an idea. So it's like, oh my God, I'm so used to coach, and here I am. So we sit down, and then Trump comes on with Melania, which was his girlfriend at the time. You want the I'm going to give you the unfiltered story. So we all sit down. Trump says hi to Mr. Pecker and to Judge Janine, and they kind of disappear because they know him really well, and they fly all the time, and they just go and do their thing. But I'm sitting now opposite Trump and Melania, and Jeff is to my left, and I'm just keeping quiet. And then Trump looks at me and goes, "So what are you all about?" And Jeff jumps in. And he goes, "Hey, Donald, he's really funny, and he's my friend from L.A. He just moved to New York less than a year ago, and he knows everybody." Trump seems just like, when you see him at a press conference, he gets really interested. He leans forward, with his hands in that, not pyramid, but pentagon shape. And he goes, "Really? You know people?" I go, "Yeah, I'm a comic. I know everybody." He goes, "You know Sarah Silverman?" I go, "Of course I know Sarah Silverman. I go to Mike Reynolds' apartment all the time. We watch UFC wrestling and boxing, whatever it is." He goes, "Let me ask you a question. Are her breasts real?" And he's got Melania sitting right there. And I look at him and I go, yeah, what's the big deal? They're normal. She's a very beautiful woman, but they're not overly large. He goes, "Oh, no. Those are big breasts." I go, "No, they're not. They're like regular size. You must be wrong." I'm like having an argument with Donald Trump, soon to
over
be
breast
one day
size,
the president of the United States, over Sarah Silverman's breasts. And I go, "No, they're good, but they're good. They're good size, but it's not Playboy magazine gigantic." And he goes, "Well, I'll be." So now, we're sitting there. I'm going, "This is the greatest guy in the world. This is going to be so much fun." And I look out the window because I'm sort of an aviation buff. I noticed that he's got what are called winglets on the ends of the wings of the plane. Now you see winglets all the time. It's 2025. So you see that those are those little flaps that go up. They're meant that, I guess, in extreme turbulence, it helps stabilize the wing and give less turbulence to the passengers.
It's like the last 36 inches are bent up, and it's supposed to help on fuel economy and stability, right?
Right. Well, they're not bent up; they're added. You can't bend the wings like that. But anyway, I said, "You got winglets," and he goes, "You noticed?" I go, "Oh, I know a lot about flying." And he goes, "I just had them put on the other day." I go, "You're ahead of the curve." And he goes, "Let me ask you a question." And he's like leaning forward again. I go, "Yes, Mr. Trump. Call me Donald." "Yes, Donald." He goes, "Do you want to sit in the cockpit for takeoff?" I went, "You bet I do." And the next thing I know, I'm in the jump seat in a 727. This is like, if you like flying, this is a dream come true. And I'm sitting between the pilot. I'm behind, but the pilot is to my left or to right, and the co-pilot, I don't know how it works that way. And the airport is packed. There are 30 planes in line to take off. But because we're a private plane and he's got priority, we go right to the front of the line and we take off. And I got to tell you, It was so exciting to fly over New York, and it was a crystal clear night.
Oh,
and
wow.
you see all the lights went right over Manhattan, made the left to go out to Long Island, and it was so exciting.
Oh, how cool!
And then I went back into the in the cabin, and we had a great time with him. And we talked about comedy. We talked just anything but, him being a big shot and boss. He really is he asks you questions and wants to know about you. That's his gimmick.
Now what's
Obviously,
Melania doing? Is she involved?
No, she didn't say a word. She was very polite and everything, but no, she didn't say. Remember, she at this time, and she still has a thick accent, and she, again, no, I can't make any judgment on it. I don't know why maybe she wasn't into show business people, or she's shy. I don't know, but she really didn't speak. It was just Trump, me, and Jeff telling show business. I have all these, as you know, I have all these great show business stories. So Jeff is making me tell one story after another, and I'm like bonding with the future president of the United States. So we land in Florida, and we go to Mar-a-Lago, and he goes, "I'm having a cocktail party. Why don't you guys go change and come?" And so we went to this cocktail. But the people who live at Mar-a-Lago, they're like in their 80s and 90s. This is old money. It was originally Post cereal. About Post cereal, right? When
the
you were
Post
a kid.
family, and they make cereals and stuff, right? Very rich.
This was their mansion. I think it was built around the turn of the century, maybe 1905, something like that. So it's a real nice place. It's not as big as it appears on television. It's like a miniature size of what you see when you see it on TV. And that ballroom that you always see, that's where the cocktail party was. It was surprisingly small, because in 1905, you just didn't know that many people or whatever. And you didn't know that many wealthy people to have in it. So I remember that. So the party's over like at 9:15. So it was like from 8 o'clock to 9:15, and these people like in their late 80s and 90s, they go home or they live at Mar-a-Lago and they go to their apartments or whatever. So Jeff and I, we sit in the lobby and we're just like, we don't know what to do because we're like trapped at this resort. We're miles away from everything. We don't know what we're going to do. And Trump is behind the front desk, just like you see on television. He's going over like folios. He's looking at reservations. He's talking to the people, and it's just amazing that he's like a worker behind the front desk. And then he sees Jeff and I sitting, in these real nice leather chairs, and he like motions, "Get over here." I go, "Me? Yeah, get over here." And I come over, and he goes, he opens up a drawer behind the counter, and he goes, "I know you guys. I know what you're all about. You're just starting your adventure. You're not going to go to bed till 5 or 6 in the morning. I got it straight." He goes, "Here's the keys to my car. It's out front. Go to Worth Avenue. Have fun. Park it anywhere. If anybody tells you they can't park it, just tell them whose car it is." And I went, "Oh, well, thank you very much." And because I've been on the road so much and so used to traveling, whenever you get a rental car, you take out your driver's license. And you said they can make a photocopy. So I reach in my pocket and I take out my license. And Trump, he gives me this look. Goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm giving you my driver's license so you can make a copy of it in case we get into trouble." He says, "Get the hell out of here!"
Well, I can't believe he just gave you his car. That is cool. Yeah. It had to be a nice car. No, because he doesn't drive. He's not a driver. It was either a Lincoln Town car. I think it was a Lincoln Town car. It was something forgettable. It was very nice. But it wasn't a Pinto or something of the time.
Well, obviously it's not going to be a Pinto, but it's like a car that they probably use at the hotel to take people to doctor's appointments and things like that. So it was a very nice Lincoln Town car. Those are great cars. So we went to Worth Avenue, and it was unremarkable. I can't even tell you what we did there. We drove. It was only kind of like we had to kill time. Because when you have a gig, you're really there for the gig. So a good portion, and you would know this having a comedy club, a comic really only cares about what his mission is. And our mission was to do a show the next night, and everything else is secondary. So we walked around, we piddled around. I don't drink, Jeff doesn't drink, so we didn't, we weren't drinking. And we looked around. We saw that this was a very wealthy, well-to-do area. And, we're misfits. So we got back in the car, we went back, and that was the end of it. So the next day, as comedians want to be, we wake up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're just like sitting by the pool, like in regular clothing, where everybody else like in beach attire or whatever. We're just sitting there because we're still zombies. I haven't had coffee because there's no place to get coffee. I don't want to bother him with the car again. And we're just sitting there, and Trump comes walking by like with a brisk walking. He's got like a putter in his hand, and he's got the golfing hat, and he goes, "There they are, these two idiots, these two bums. Look at them. They just." He's making everybody laugh. He goes, "They just woke up. We've been up for 9 hours. They're just waking up. Look at the sleepy pies." And he comes over to me. He goes, "I don't know what you've been doing. Probably just snoozing. But I just made a $16 million deal with the Japanese out on the field on the 9th hole or whatever, whatever the golf terminology. And look at you two. You're just laying here. You're not doing anything." Crazy. And then he just walks away. He goes, I think he was with Japanese business people. They walked away with them. So then we do the show. And, obviously Trump emceed it. So which is so, he gets up there and he tries to be funny. And they just know him as Donald. These are like his friends or whatever. So he tries to make a couple of remarks, and they're like, "Come on, start the show." they're like heckling them.
That's funny. Donald Trump getting heckled at his own party.
It was like good-natured heckling. "We didn't come here to see you." So he brings me on. I did great, and I bring on Jeff, and and that was it. I mean, we did our show, and it was terrific. And I don't know what we did. I think we hung around there that night because it was so exciting, and a lot of the people did hang out after the show. So we kibitzed with them, and then the next day we fly back with Melania and Donald on the plane, and it was like when this is it. You're not going to meet him. This is your one shot with Donald Trump.
Yeah, and these kinds of things don't happen every day. You're like realizing it's a moment,
right? So his mind is on getting back to Trump Tower and what he's going to do when he gets back and tomorrow and the rest of his life. Melania is counting money in her head. How much, if I ever marry this guy, what am I getting? So she's doing her long division, and I'm sitting there going,
5 years, 10 million, 10
whatever,
years, 100 million.
whatever. And meanwhile, she stayed with him the whole time. So now it's ring a ding ding. But who knew that then? And I'm just sitting there going, this is all going to be over. I go, this is like the end of A Wizard of Oz. I want to go back to Oz, and I'm I'm still kibitzing with him the whole thing. And now we're over Queens. And when you're on a jet and the landing gear comes down, you hear the door open, and as I hear I know the wheels are coming out. I know it's all over. It's minutes away from this fun, great weekend. And I turn to Trump and I go, "Let me tell you something, Donald. I feel like a trucker who won the Spend the Weekend with Donald Trump contest at work, and now it's over." And I'm not too happy about it. And he reaches over and he gives me a pat on the shoulder because he's not a big toucher. And he laughs. And that was it. We got off the plane and I never saw him again. But now I see him every day on TV.
Wow. What a great story. And what's interesting is that when people deal with celebrities and rich people and famous people, you don't realize that they're just people. I mean, you have to treat them like normal people, but in the moment, you're captivated and filled with this excitement for what's special to you. To them, it's just another day. But
you know what? You're wrong.
Okay.
Because I've met a lot of famous people, and they're a horror show. What's interesting is they play really funny, vulnerable people on screen, and then when you meet them, they're not the same character. They're moody. They're not fun. Yes, and yet I've met stars, on good circumstances and bad.
Amazing opportunity that Jeff Ross shared with you to have that, like you said, you made it very clear, kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity and experience. But you made, full use of it, and at least for 48 hours, it was, Donald, and that is, something.
He was my best friend for 48 hours.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that story with my audience. It's so amazing how a personality like Donald Trump, and people see him on the TV show or you see him as president, and yet, he's really just a guy, and that he really appreciated your company at the time, and you and Jeff, performed and did a great show for him. And, what a great opportunity. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
Can I give you one more follow-up before we go? So Trump gets elected in 2016, and it's Christmas time. So obviously he's at Mar-a-Lago, and Jeff calls me up. He goes, "Hey, buddy." I go, "Jeffrey, what's going on?" He goes, "Oh, I'm down here. I'm playing for the Improv." I go, and I go, "Your guy, Trump won. Our guy won." He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to play golf with him tomorrow." I go, "You're going to play golf with the president-elect of the United States?" "Yeah, I'm going to go. We're going to play golf." I go, "You got to take a picture, and you got to put it on whatever your Instagram, I think he's on." He goes, "Oh, it sounds like a good idea. He's the president. He's the president of the United States. You got to take a picture." So this is like the stupidest advice I forgot to give to a comedian. So he takes a picture, a great picture of him and Trump. He calls me the next day. He goes, "Hey, buddy, I had to take it down." I go, "Why?" He goes, "I got 69,000 hate messages."
Oh, jeez. So they had they had Trump derangement system.
Yeah, all the Trump, all the Hollywood Trumps are. He goes, I think I may have hurt my career."
And you gave him the advice, Bruce. What a friend. Well, again, great story, great follow-up. Okay. Thanks for sharing it. Thanks, and we will be talking soon. But ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Smirnoff down in South Florida, fully retired now, but still one of the funniest guys. Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Scott.
Hey, I have an idea. Let's check with President Trump and follow up on this story.
This is your favorite president.
Oh, President Trump, I'm so happy to be able to catch you on the phone. I just had a conversation with an old friend of yours. I don't know if you remember him, Bruce Smirnoff. He was telling me that you guys were like great friends.
Great friends. Bruce, you say his name's Smirnoff, like that beer?
No, like the vodka. Yeah.
Like the vodka. I'm not much of a drinker. But I don't know who the heck you're talking about. Bruce Smirnoff. Who the heck is Bruce?
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. President. He's a stand-up comic. He did some work from you at Mar-a-Lago with Jeff Ross, and he and you became friends over, I guess your plane has those winglets.
Oh, yes, Bruce Smirnoff. I remember he was going nuts about those winglets like we've never seen in the history of our country. Now I do remember that very well. I actually let him sit in the cockpit during that flight.
Yeah, he really enjoyed that, and he shared the story of your, it was about a 24-hour friendship at Mar-a-Lago many years ago, but I'm so happy you remember him.
Well, I do remember him very well. I remember he was one of the funniest guys probably we've ever had at Mar-a-Lago. Don't tell Jeff I said this, but he was a lot funnier than Jeff Ross, believe me.
Well, I will mention it to Bruce, but I'll keep it a secret from Jeff Ross. Well, they're both great comics, and they had such a great time at Mar-a-Lago. You were such a great host. You treated them really well, and I just wanted to call and kind of confirm that you had this short-term friendship with Bruce Smirnoff. So, Mr. Trump, how are things going?
Well, things are going great. The country's never been better in the history of our country. We're winning in so many areas. You're going to get bored of winning after 4 years, believe me.
Well, I certainly believe that. I'm a big Trumpster, so a big fan. Well, Mr. Trump, thank you so much. I'm so sorry, President Trump. Thank you for your valuable time and letting us know that you and Bruce Smirnoff are huge friends.
Yeah, we're big league friends. In fact, I'm actually thinking of making Bruce my press secretary in the second half of my term. So let him know that.
I will do that. He would definitely be a fun and unique press secretary. Well, President Trump, I'll let you go. Thanks again for sharing your valuable time.
Well, thank you very much. God bless you.
Wow, that was President Trump on the phone, and he validated Bruce's story. Man, that is so exciting. Hey, hope you enjoyed this unique and special show. We'll be back next week with another great one. Thanks for listening. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC. For information on the show, merchandise, and our sponsors, or to send comments to Scott, visit our website at www.standupyourhostandmc.com. Look for more episodes soon and enjoy the world of stand-up comedy. Visit a comedy showroom near you.